So let's start. We'll be covering three things today. Why one should become a software developer, then the different interview stages for SD1 roles at product-based companies, and how to prepare for those SD roles at product-based companies. So let's see why we should become a software developer. So inherently, like there's nothing wrong being a non-developer. So like whatever you guys do are very like important tasks. Like without that, the product would be completely unusable for the customers or the users of that product. So you are doing a very essential job. It's just that there are some advantages that comes up when you are like being a software developer comes up with its own advantage. The major one being that the pay difference that is there between a developer role and a non-developer role that is there. Then the kind of work that you get to do as a developer is generally better than what you do not get to work on right now, and you get more ownership of the product. Let's say if you're in test, or let's say in tech support, you do not get as much ownership of the product as much as a software developer or a designer or a product manager gets. So being a software developer comes up with these advantages, and generally like non-software developers are paid somewhere around 3 to 5 lakhs per annum, whereas in product-based companies most software developers get easily get double of that, and big tech companies and startups pay a lot more than what a non-developer would get. So like it totally makes sense to become a software developer. It's just that if you want it, then you should aim for it, and it's not very easy to become a software developer at a product based company. uh, that being said, it's not very difficult as well. Like if you are doing the right preparation, putting in the right amount of hard work, and like doing that hard work consistently and doing the right things, so that's also equally important. Like if you keep on doing hard work, that won't matter unless you are doing the right thing. Basically whatever would help you get that job, you need to do that thing. So I hope that this roadmap will help you understand the right direction part, and the hard work and the consistency part, you have to do it yourself. So let's look at the different interview stages for SD1 roles at product-based companies. So, as you must be knowing that everything starts with the resume shortlisting phase in while you apply to a job. And why does that happen? Because companies receive hundreds of thousands of resumes for a single job opening. So it's not possible to interview everyone. So that's why they shortlist based on that. And you being from a non-developer role might not clear the cutoff, or like your resume might not get shortlisted in general. So that would generally happen because many developers are also applying for the same role. So we'll be learning how to fix that. So one major important thing that you can do to fix that is doing full stack development projects, or let's say Android development projects, or basically whichever domain you want to go into. Do projects in that domain, and that will help your resume get shortlisted, as the companies would understand that you have taken the effort and done some work to get into this particular domain that you want to get into. Doing good projects, then putting it properly in your resume, like following the best practices for resume, and then applying for the correct role. So since you are from a non-software development domain, irrespective of your experience, you'll have to apply for an SD1 role. Like let's say even if you have spent 6 to 7 years in a non-software developer domain, you won't be getting an SD2 role. That's not going to happen. So you need to apply for the correct role after you have done all the things that are required. That is decent projects and good resume. Then comes the exploratory call, where you talk to a hiring manager or an HR regarding the role that you're applying for, and they also discuss about your previous experience. So there also you might face issues, but if you have done good projects, you can talk about that. So focus on doing good dev work, then do sufficient research about the company and the roles that you're applying for, and try to explain whatever you have done in a way that a recruiter can also understand. See, recruiters are not technical people, so you need to explain it in a way that they are also able to understand what you have done. So maybe what you can do is explain what you have done to someone who is not from your domain, and see what they understand, and like improve your answers based on that. Then comes machine coding round, which is a low level design round where you have to code in a basically you are tested based on your design skills, your how good you uh, basically your code structure, your if you're following the good practices or not, and those stuff. So that's the machine coding round, and most people get eliminated there. So focus on that. Uh, Not like I won't say that all companies expect machine coding round, but right now most top startups uh, have the machine coding round. So focus on that as well. Then the main interview round at product-based companies, which is the problem-solving DSA round, or the online coding round as well, where you have to solve problems, logical problems or data structures related problem in a limited amount of time. So for that, you need to do a lot of practice, like 13 to 20 weeks of practice is something that you should be looking at for this. So, and without that, getting into product-based company is almost impossible. So, practice a lot of DSA problem solving. Do not memorize stuff and do not look at solutions. So, even if you're in an embedded domain, like people who are working at Qualcomm or similar companies, you must be aware of, like, bit aware of DSA. But you need to up your game and like do it in a way such that you can get SD roles at product-based companies. Then this is mostly generally the final round, where you are tested both on your tech skills and your non-tech skills. So here your the projects that you have done either on your job or outside your job comes a lot into picture. So you must have done good projects here, and you should be able to explain whatever you have done in a way that is easy to understand, where which shows that you have the intent to learn, you have the intent to build, and basically where you show that you are a good person to hire. So that's what you need to work for the hiring manager on. So, these are the different steps that are there in the round. So, before going to the roadmap, I'll just introduce SG Bootcamp, which is a program that we are doing to help people get into product-based companies as a software developer. After that, I'll go to the roadmap. So, just giving an overview here. So the curriculum would be full stack development, data structures algorithm, core CS, low level design, system design. So basically whatever is required for software development role, live classes would be happening every Sunday. So that would be done by me and Sagar. We both are the co-founders of workat.tech. You'll be assigned a one-on-one personal mentor from a top tech company. Then you will be solving a lot of practice questions. You'll be building projects. Then you'll be getting doubt resolution and career support as well. So this is the overview of SD Bootcamp. So these are the topics, instructors and mentors. This is the career support you will be getting. So it's a 30-week program, and after that you will be completely prepared for SD roles at product-based companies. So moving on to the roadmap part. So if you are interested in SD Bootcamp, you can ping me on WhatsApp. I'll be happy to set up a call with you. So if you already know how to code, then that's fine. Otherwise, learn to code. Either use C++ or Java. Okay, so and once you have learned a language, learn to code, practice online coding. Online coding is very different from how we code on the job or while we how we learned in college. It's totally different from that. So practice online coding. Uh, I'll share a link of basic online coding problems. You can try that out. And Sagar, if you may add, that would be great. So basic practice problems, do that. Then learn development and build projects. As I mentioned that without learning development, without learning software development, it's highly unlikely to get your resume shortlisted or even to do well in the hiring manager round. So learn to develop software, either do full stack development or Android development, whatever you want. I highly suggest full stack development because most roles hire for full stack developers. Almost all big companies hire full stack developers. So do development and build good projects. Like do not build something like invisible cloak or something like that everyone is building and does not require 10 to 15 lines, more than 10 to 15 lines of code. Build very good projects, something that can help you stand out, that can help your resume stand out, basically based on which the hiring manager or the HR can decide that this person has done a good project, we should definitely interview them. Then object-oriented programming. Some of you might already be aware of object-oriented programming and might be using on their job. But this is very important. Like almost all big companies use object-oriented programming, and as I mentioned, machine coding round also test based on that only. So focus on that as well. Like this is an important topic. Then DSA foundations is there. So basically, entire data success algorithm with a special focus on time complexity analysis, recursion, and divide and conquer practice. So I'll say the same for DSA as well. Uh, Practice all the DSA topics, like learn them and practice a lot regarding the DSA topics. So if I'm rushing too fast, do not worry. I will share notes of the entire thing. You would be able to go through it again through the notes. So practice DSA, like basic DSA, advanced DSA, I would divide it into two parts. Basic DSA is something that will help you clear a lot of product-based companies. Advanced DSA is something that will help you clear the top tech companies like Amazon or Microsoft or Flipkart, something like that. So these are the topics that come up in the basic DSA part: array, linked list, stack queue, binary tree, searching, sorting, hashing, two pointers. Here also do not memorize stuff. Like whenever you are doing DSA, whenever you're doing anything that's required to get you a job, you are not supposed to memorize that stuff. Like you won't be tested on what you have memorized. You would be tested on your problem solving skills, and if you can solve unknown problems. So that's what you would be tested on. Or if you can build unknown things. Like given a problem, can you build it? Then like build your resume. As I mentioned, that follow the best practices for a resume. Keep a one pager. Do not keep two to. I was doing resume review a few days back, and I saw that people had 4 to 5 pages of resumes as well. Keep it keep it to one page unless you have 8 to 10 years of experience. Keep it to one page. Do not add your photo, remove objectives, and all those stuff. Just keep the most relevant part. Basically, it should be such that within 5 to 10 seconds, the recruiter should be ready to interview you. As I mentioned, the advanced DSA part as well. Like these are the things that you need to do to for top tech companies. So you can see that in the notes at a later stage. uh, Spend some time on the theoretical subjects as well. Like you do not want to get rejected because you do not know the theoretical subjects. I used to get rejected in college because of that. Like if I can go back, I would definitely do these subjects. Being in college, I had to do it after college, so I would highly suggest you to do the CS topics. Just it won't take a lot of time. Focus on that as well. Like spend some time on it. Machine coding, like most people I have seen during my interviews have been rejected in the machine coding round. So practice some questions. If you practice 5 to 7 questions, you should be good enough for machine coding round. Just do it in a timed manner, like 1.5 hours for a question. So that's if you do that, you should be good enough. Then give time test 30 to 45 minutes of for a particular question. So do this after you have mastered all the concepts by through practice. Do it towards the end of your interview phase where you have to solve any problem in 30 to 45 minutes, and then spend a day or two writing on paper or on whiteboard so that you get hands on with that. Right now, on site interviews are not going to happen, but when that happens, you should be prepared for that. Then mock interviews are there. Like mock interviews help you fix common interview mistakes. So like do this 1 to 2 weeks before your actual interviews. That should be good enough. And then finally, when you are ready, start applying. Like look for referrals on LinkedIn. So we have an article on how to look for referrals with the best practices to get maximum response. Then look for jobs on job portals or career pages. So job portals like angel.co or InstaHire or let's say calm.work. There are different job portals. Look for them. So Naukri is also a very good job portal actually. Like people think that it's not a good job portal, but when you upload your resume there and your resume is good, you would start getting a lot of calls even from companies like Amazon or Flipkart. And then you can directly apply to the career pages as well. So there is one hack that you can do is try to find the email addresses of recruiters when you are applying for big companies and of founders when you are applying to startups. When you send them an email, a properly written email, so it's highly likely that you would get a response compared to the other methods that are there. So this increases the likelihood. So this is a good hack that I used to do in my college days and even after that, and it used to work very well. So I'm done with the this part. So I'll be taking Q&A now. Sagar will also be joining me now for the question and answers. You can ask them on chat. Meanwhile, if you want to receive updates from us, then you can subscribe to us on WhatsApp. So it's workat.tech/subscribe, or you can send subscribe to 9732130450 on WhatsApp. The number is displayed on the bottom of the slides as well. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you. I'll take questions now. Okay, someone asked, I just started working as QA in service-based company. How long should I wait to switch to SE role in product-based company?
So I do not think there is any reason to wait. I think you should start preparing right away, and it will probably take, I'm guessing, around 6 months for you to prepare. And once you feel you are ready, like start applying. There's no reason to wait as such.
So basically, you're losing a lot of money by staying, by not applying early. So start preparing, start applying.
So system design questions are expected from which level of experience? So in this case, so SD1, which is the entry level for most companies, usually do not require that much of system design experience. What they look for mostly is design in terms of code, which is usually covered by object-oriented like style of writing code. But system design usually comes in when you're applying at SD2 level, which is 2+ years of experience in general. But if you're switching from, let's say, a service-based company and you have 2+ years of experience, and even though you're applying to SD1 roles, they may expect very little of system design, although they should not go too much in.
Sunny asked what a different project you were talking about in the slides. I have added that link in chat. You can go through it. Can you create a program of 2 or 3 months which will make the QA guys strong in DS and algo which they lack in? So like we do not want to create a smaller program right now because uh, even like apart from DSA as well, you need to work on development. Otherwise, your resume won't get shortlisted. So that's why we had to create an entire big program. What is the course fee? I'll share that with you. You can ping me on WhatsApp. Basically, working professionals won't have focus or time for 5 to 6 months to go. So basically, if you want something, if that's a goal that you have set for yourself, then you'll have to put the effort for that, right? So unless you are ready to put the effort, then like that is not something that you want a lot.
So is it like restarting our career? If we have already spent 7 years into QA, how can we leverage this experience? So, the experience that you're talking about will be a little different for everyone. One thing you can try to apply to SD2 roles, but with that, the expectation from you would be a little higher. For example, you will be expected to know more about system design and have a higher level knowledge of how a product works. And yeah, so one way to leverage your experience would be to go to a slightly higher level rather than going to SD1. Otherwise, it's you're basically comparing like two different things. And one of the things that could be very important for you is salary. And in general, dev roles generally pay more than QA. But given that you already have 7 years of experience, that is something that you will have to check for yourself. Like how the monetary like factor comes into play for you. So, how to change my testing approach to development approach, or migrate my SDT knowledge in software development. So one way of thinking that requires changing, according to my experience, is that a lot of non-dev people in non-dev roles usually think of like software development in terms of languages. So you either consider yourself, let's say, Python, someone who's working in Python or Java or C or C++, something like that. Whereas like developers at top product-based companies do not view themselves as a developer of a particular language. So when you go to interview for SDE roles, or even when you look at yourself as a programmer, it is very important that you look at yourself as a problem solver, and you present yourself as a problem solver, and you learn and become comfortable in more than one technological stack. So that is something that will change the way you view the world around you, and you know uh, learn how to be a software problem solver rather than just someone who writes code. And try building stuff by yourself. Try doing projects outside of your job, because if you are at a testing profession, you will probably not be building a lot of stuff. And that is why you should try building it outside of your work experience.
Basically, if it's less, remove it from your resume. No one is going to notice that.
I have seen a few articles on Lead Code where people are asked to join as SDT even after clearing SD interview because they are experienced or worked as SDT previously in career. That can happen because let's say that depends upon company to company. But if you clear an SD interview, uh, it, I think you should have the leverage to negotiate with the recruiter or the hiring manager and push for the SD role. And if they really believe that you have actually cleared the interview and have the skill, they should ideally hire you. Uh, the other side of the picture, what might have happened is that you could not clear the SD interview, but they found you suitable for another role that they had, which in this case could be an SDT role, and that is why I put forward an SDT offer for you. So like both of them can be possible. It happens that you apply for one role and get a different offer. I think you should negotiate around it and try to make it clear what your expectations are, and try to get the SD role if you think you are really if you're really suitable for that role.
Also, doing development projects outside the job would give you more leverage. You can tell the interviewer that you have shown intent to learn development and you actually want to be a developer. So that would help you as well. Like make good projects. That's definitely gonna help you there. Like it varies from company to company, but in general, like it would be kind of 30 to 40% lower than an SG role. But it depends from company to company for sure.
Yeah, I have 2 years of QA experience. I'm now Pega certified system architect. I'm having knowledge of Pega development. How can I make my resume so that I hit a dev role in another company? Uh, I'm not sure what Pega development is.
Okay,
Gaurav, do you know it?
I'll take this up. So basically, uh, as Saga has previously mentioned, that product-based companies or software developer roles do not care about the technology that you are coming from. So, like you should portray yourself as a developer instead of Pega developer or something like that. Like you should be able to show that you know how to build stuff, irrespective of the technology that's going to be used to build that stuff, and you can solve problems irrespective of what the problem is. Is it possible to get chance in big giants with Python? Same answer. Like they do not care about technology. They care about your building capabilities and your problem solving capabilities. So Praful mentioned that we are doing a good job. So please leave a like on this video and make sure to subscribe.
Is competitive coding required for startups also? It depends. Some startups require it. Ask questions. Like in general, competitive coding is not required for any company, or at least most companies. What they have is the problem solving data structure round, which can be cleared without having competitive programming experience. But if you're asking for like problem solving and data structures, like do you need to be very good at them? Some startups require it, some don't. Some will hire you just on the basis of your development experience. If you have built stuff, yeah.
It's better to prepare for DSA so that you keep your options open. Like if you do not prepare for DSA well, then there would be very few companies that you would be eligible for. So better to keep your options open. Apart from projects regarding experience in interviews, what needs to be told to the recruiter is past experiences based. So basically, you need to show intent that you have done SGT, you have done it well. Now you want to become a developer, and that's something that you want to do, and that's non-negotiable. So this is the leverage that you need to show to the recruiter, and that can be done if you actually show intent through projects. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be on your resume to show that intent. DSA with Python, will it be relevant? It would be relevant. It's just that some coding test might not allow Python. So in the interview, you can use any language, but during the coding test, it might be an issue. Like Not always, but in some companies. Okay, in the bootcamp, the DSA would be done in Java. It's not language bound. It's just that if you are coming from a C++ background and do not know Java, then we won't be using pointers in that case. So that might be an issue. But we have a course to switch from C++ to Java if you want to switch, and we'll provide it to you for free if you join.